The college tuition bill sat on my kitchen counter like a ticking bomb. I must have read it 20 times, but the numbers refused to add up. There should have been more than enough money in Sophia's college fund to cover this. The fund I'd been religiously contributing to since her birth. My hands trembled as I logged into the account, and that's when my world imploded. Zero balance. My name is Christine, and in that moment, I knew my ex-husband had stolen our daughter's future. "Mom?" Sophia's voice startled me. She stood in the doorway, still wearing her graduation cap and gown from the ceremony rehearsal. "Everything okay?" I forced a smile, but my voice cracked. "Just looking over some paperwork, sweetie." She crossed the kitchen and hugged me from behind. "You're crying." "I'm just proud of you," I lied, quickly wiping my eyes. "My baby's graduating tomorrow." After Sophia went upstairs, I called Valerie, my closest friend and Sophia's godmother. "The money's gone," I whispered into the phone, afraid Sophia might hear. "All of it." "What do you mean, gone?" Valerie's lawyer voice kicked in immediately. "Truman cleaned out Sophia's college fund. Every penny." "That son of a bitch." Valerie's curse was sharp and precise. "When did you last check the balance?" 3 months ago. Everything was there then." My free hand clenched into a fist. He must have used his co-signing authority. I never removed it after the divorce because I couldn't finish the sentence. "Because you trusted him to at least be a decent father," Valerie finished for me. "I'm coming over." 30 minutes later, Valerie sat at my kitchen table, her laptop open, her reading glasses perched on her nose. "The withdrawals started small," she said, scrolling through the account history. 5,000 here, 10,000 there. Then 3 weeks ago, he took the remaining 60,000 in one go. "His gambling," I said flatly. "It has to be." Memories flooded back. The nights Truman came home late, reeking of cigarettes and desperation. The bounced checks. The mysterious cash advances. I'd divorced him 5 years ago when I caught him betting our mortgage payment at the casino. But I'd foolishly believed he'd never touch Sophia's money. "Have you tried calling him?" Valerie asked. "Straight to voicemail." I pulled up my phone and dialed again, just to prove the point. This time he answered. "Christine, what's wrong?" His voice was casual, as if he hadn't just destroyed our daughter's future. "The college fund, Truman. What did you do?" A pause. Then a laugh that made my blood boil. "Oh, that. I had some temporary cash flow issues. I'll replace it." "Temporary?" I struggled to keep my voice down. "Sophia graduates tomorrow. Her tuition is due in 2 months. Look, I've got a sure thing lined up. Double or nothing on—" I hung up. My hands were shaking so hard I nearly dropped the phone. "I recorded that," Valerie said quietly, holding up her own phone. "And I've got the account statements. We can file charges." "He'll just run," I said. "You know how he operates. He'll disappear, change his number, maybe even leave the state. Then we'll find him." Valerie's voice had that steel edge I'd heard her use in court. "Christine, listen to me. 5 years ago, you let him walk away with barely any consequences. You were too focused on protecting Sophia from the fallout. But now, he's the one who's hurt her directly." "Sophia can't know," I said quickly. "Not before graduation. This is her moment." "Agreed. But after that?" Valerie leaned forward. "We're going to make him pay. Not just the money. He needs to understand that actions have consequences." My phone buzzed with a text from Truman. "Don't do anything stupid, Christine. You're too weak to fight me on this. Always have been." I showed the text to Valerie, who smiled grimly. "He really doesn't know you anymore, does he?" "No," I said, feeling a cold resolve settle over me. "He doesn't." Upstairs, I could hear Sophia talking excitedly on the phone about tomorrow's ceremony, about her dreams of college, about the future she believed was secure. I thought about all the extra shifts I'd worked, all the sacrifices I'd made to build that fund, while Truman spent years feeding his addiction. "Valerie," I said quietly, "I want to destroy him." She reached across the table and squeezed my hand. "Then let's get to work." Sophia's graduation ceremony went perfectly, though every smile felt like a mask I was wearing. When Truman showed up, late as usual, I had to grip my chair to stop myself from screaming at him in front of everyone. He even had the nerve to hand Sophia an envelope. Empty promises about helping with college expenses, no doubt. The next morning, I met Valerie at her office downtown. The place screamed success, all glass, chrome, and power suits. She'd already pulled together a stack of documents that made my head spin. First things first, Valerie said, sliding a coffee across her desk to me. I've filed an emergency petition to freeze all of Truman's accounts, but knowing him, they're probably already empty. He's always been good at hiding money, I admitted, remembering how he'd juggled credit cards during our marriage. That's why I called in a favor. Valerie pressed her intercom. Send Patrick in, please. Patrick, our old family financial advisor, walked in carrying a laptop. He'd aged since I'd last seen him, his hair more gray than black now, but his eyes were sharp as ever. Christine, he said, giving me a quick hug. I'm so sorry about all this. I should have noticed something when... Don't, I cut him off. This isn't on you. He sat down and opened his laptop. I've been tracking Truman's financial movements. He's gotten sloppy. The gambling's worse than ever. He's hitting underground games now, not just casinos. Illegal games? Valerie perked up. Very. Patrick turned the screen toward us. Look at these transfers. They're all going to shell companies owned by Marcus Rivera. The Marcus Rivera? Valerie whistled. The one the FBI's been trying to nail for years? Who is he? I asked. Only the biggest illegal gambling operator on the East Coast, Valerie explained. And now your ex-husband owes him money. My phone buzzed. A text from Olivia. Need to see you ASAP. Have info about T. Go, Valerie said when I showed her the message. Patrick and I will keep digging. I met Olivia at our usual coffee shop. My best friend looked nervous, stirring her untouched latte. You're not going to believe this, she said, leaning forward. My brother works security at the Grand Hotel, remember? He just sent me this. She slid her phone across the table. The video showed Truman arguing with a man in an expensive suit in the hotel lobby. Even without sound, I could tell it was heated. The man jabbed his finger into Truman's chest, and Truman's face went pale. That's Rivera, Olivia said. This was yesterday. According to my brother, Truman's been dealing cards for Rivera's private games, skimming money to pay off his debts. My hands started shaking. He stole Sophia's money to pay a crime boss? There's more. Olivia bit her lip. Rivera's guys have been asking questions about you and Sophia. Ice filled my veins. What kind of questions? Where you live? Where Sophia's planning to go to college? Christine, I think Truman might have used you both as collateral. I called Valerie immediately. She answered on the first ring. Get to my office. Now. 20 minutes later, I sat in Valerie's office with Patrick and Olivia, watching Valerie pace. This changes everything, she said. We're not just dealing with civil court anymore. If Truman's involved with Rivera, we can use that. How? I asked. Rivera's careful. He only works with people he can trust or control. If Truman's stealing from him, Valerie's smile was predatory, we can make Rivera our ally. Are you insane? I stood up. He's a criminal. A businessman, Valerie corrected. One who hates thieves more than anything. Patrick, can you prove Truman's skimming? Patrick nodded slowly. The numbers don't lie. He's been taking about 5% from each game. My phone rang. Truman's name flashed on the screen. I put it on speaker. Christine, call off your lawyer, he said without preamble. You're going to get me killed. You did that yourself, I replied, surprising myself with how steady my voice was. When you stole from our daughter. I had no choice. Rivera was going to... He caught himself. Just stop digging. Please. Like you stopped stealing from Sophia's future? You don't understand what you're dealing with. No, Truman, I said, feeling stronger with every word. You don't understand what you're dealing with. I'm not that weak woman you married anymore. I hung up and looked at Valerie. Whatever plan you have, I'm in. Good, she said, because by this time next week, Truman's going to learn that hell hath no fury like a mother protecting her child's future. Patrick and Olivia exchanged glances. We all knew we were crossing a line, but Truman had crossed it first. He'd gambled with our daughter's future, and now he was going to lose everything. Valerie's plan was both brilliant and terrifying. We sat in her office late into the evening, mapping out every detail while Patrick traced money trails and Olivia worked her connections. Rivera has a legitimate business front, Valerie explained, pointing to a document. A high-end restaurant downtown called the Royal Flush. Real subtle, right? And you want me to go there? My voice cracked slightly. You'll be perfectly safe, Valerie assured me. I've arranged everything through back channels. Rivera's agreed to meet you. Apparently, he's quite interested in what we have to say about Truman. My phone lit up with a text from Sophia. Mom, where are you? Dad keeps calling me. Sounds weird. Everything okay? Go home, Valerie said, reading my expression. We'll continue tomorrow. Patrick, you have those financial records ready? Patrick nodded, his fingers flying over his keyboard. Everything's documented. The skimming, the college fund withdrawals, even some old gambling debts I managed to uncover. Truman's been busy. At home, I found Sophia sitting at the kitchen table, looking worried. Dad called 4 times, she said. He was asking if we could meet tomorrow, said it's important. What did you tell him? That I'm busy packing for the campus visit next week. She twisted her hands together, a nervous habit she'd inherited from me. Mom, what's really going on? I sat down beside her, my heart heavy. Your father's in some trouble, sweetie, but I'm handling it. Is it gambling again? The question hit me like a slap. You knew? Sophia's laugh was bitter. Mom, I'm not blind. All those times he canceled our weekends together, the weird excuses, the way he always needs to borrow money. She pulled out her phone and showed me a text. He asked me for $2,000 last week, said it was for a business opportunity. My hands clenched into fists. Did you give it to him? No, I'm not stupid. She looked at me with eyes too old for her 18 years. Is this why you've been meeting with Aunt Valerie? Before I could answer, my phone rang. Olivia. Turn on the news, she said without preamble. Channel 7. I grabbed the remote. The headline made my blood run cold. Local hotel employee found beaten in parking garage. That's one of Rivera's card dealers, Olivia said. The one Truman was working with. Police are saying it was a robbery, but my brother says the guy was talking to the feds. Sophia was watching the news with wide eyes. I couldn't hide this anymore. Honey, I said softly, we need to talk. I told her everything, the empty college fund, Truman's involvement with Rivera, all of it. She listened without interrupting, her face growing harder with each revelation. So I can't go to college? She finally asked. You're going, I said firmly. I promise you that. We're going to fix this. My phone buzzed again. Truman. This time I answered. Call off your attack dog lawyer, he hissed. Rivera's guys just paid me a visit. They're asking questions. Good, I replied. Maybe you can explain to them why you stole from our daughter. Is that what this is about? Fine. I'll get Sophia's money back. I just need a little time. Like that dealer who got beaten tonight? Did he need a little time too? Silence. Then, how do you know about that? I know everything, Truman. Every game you dealt, every dollar you skimmed, every lie you told. And tomorrow, Rivera's going to know too. You're bluffing, but his voice shook. Try me. You always said I was weak, remember? That I wouldn't fight back? Well, surprise. I'm fighting now. After hanging up, I looked at Sophia. She was staring at me with a mixture of pride and fear. Mom, she said quietly, be careful, please. I hugged her tight, breathing in the familiar scent of her shampoo. Always am, sweetie. Later that night, I got a text from Valerie. Meeting with Rivera set for tomorrow, 2 p.m. Wear something powerful. We're going to war. I stood in front of my closet, pulling out the black dress I'd worn to sign my divorce papers. It seemed fitting. 5 years ago, I'd worn it to end one chapter of my life. Tomorrow, I'd wear it to start another. One where Truman would learn that stealing from his daughter was the biggest mistake of his life. My phone lit up one last time. Patrick. Found something big. Really big. See you tomorrow. I smiled grimly at my reflection. Truman had no idea what was coming. The Royal Flush restaurant was exactly what you'd expect from a crime boss's front. All dark wood, brass fixtures, and waiters who looked more like bodyguards. Valerie and I sat at a corner table, waiting. Patrick had insisted on coming too, clutching his laptop like a shield. Remember, Valerie whispered, let me do the talking. Rivera's old school. He respects hierarchy. The man himself appeared precisely at 2 p.m., flanked by two suits. Marcus Rivera was shorter than I'd imagined, but his presence filled the room. He sat down without introduction, studying me with dark eyes that missed nothing. "Mrs. Woods," he said, his voice surprisingly gentle, "I understand your ex-husband has caused you some trouble." "He stole our daughter's college fund," I replied, ignoring Valerie's warning look, "to pay gambling debts. Your gambling debts." Rivera's eyebrows rose slightly. He gestured, and a waiter appeared with espresso. "Truman Woods," he said, stirring his coffee, "is a problem employee, but my understanding is that his debts are his own responsibility." Patrick cleared his throat. "Sir, if I may?" He opened his laptop, turning it toward Rivera. "These are records of every game Truman dealt at your establishment over the past 6 months. The highlighted numbers show discrepancies." Rivera's face didn't change, but his knuckles whitened around his espresso cup. 5%, Patrick continued, "skimmed from every pot every night. Conservative estimate puts the total around 300,000. That's separate from my daughter's college fund," I added, "which was another 120,000. Rivera set down his cup with exquisite care. "And you have proof of all this?" Valerie slid a USB drive across the table. "Everything's here, including security footage from your poker room showing Truman palming chips." My phone buzzed. Olivia. "T just showed up at the hotel looking for my brother. Says he knows we're meeting R." I showed the message to Valerie, who nodded slightly. "Mr. Rivera," she said, "we're not here to cause problems for your business. We're here because Truman Woods has stolen from both you and my client. We propose a mutually beneficial solution." Rivera's phone rang. He answered, listened, then hung up without speaking. "Your ex-husband is currently making quite a scene at my hotel," he said to me, threatening to go to the authorities about my operation. "He's desperate," I replied, "and stupid." A ghost of a smile touched Rivera's lips. "Indeed. What exactly do you want, Mrs. Woods?" "My daughter's money back, every penny, and I want Truman to face consequences, real ones this time." "And in return?" Valerie leaned forward. "All evidence of the skimming disappears. Your operation remains clean. We even know which federal agents Truman's been talking to." Rivera was silent for a long moment. Then he pulled out his phone and made a call. "Bring him here," he said simply, then hung up. 20 minutes later, Truman was practically dragged into the restaurant. He froze when he saw us. "Christine?" His face went from confused to angry. "What the hell are you doing?" "Fixing your mess," I said. "Again." Rivera gestured for Truman to sit. "Mr. Woods, your ex-wife has brought some concerning information to my attention." "She's lying," Truman said quickly. "Whatever she told you—" "Numbers don't lie," Patrick interrupted, turning his laptop toward Truman. "Neither does video." I watched the color drain from Truman's face as he recognized the footage of himself pocketing chips. "The college fund," I said. "Where is it?" "Gone," he whispered. "I lost it all trying to cover the skimming before anyone noticed." Rivera's voice could have frozen hell. "You stole from me to cover up stealing from your own child?" "I can fix this," Truman's voice cracked. "I just need time." "Time's up," Rivera said. He nodded to Valerie. "I believe we can help each other, Mrs. Woods. My organization will restore your daughter's college fund by the end of the week. As for Mr. Woods," he smiled thinly, "we'll ensure he understands the gravity of his actions." "No police," I said quickly. "I don't want my daughter's name anywhere near this." "Of course not. We handle things internally." Truman lunged for me suddenly, his face twisted. "You vindictive bitch! You have no idea what you've done." Rivera's men moved faster than I could blink, restraining Truman before he could reach me. "I know exactly what I've done," I said, standing. "I've beaten you at your own game." As we left the restaurant, I heard Truman begging behind us. I didn't look back. "Well," Valerie said once we were outside, "that went better than expected." My phone buzzed with a text from Sophia. "Mom, Dad just sent me a weird message saying goodbye." "What's happening?" I looked at Valerie. "Did we just make a deal with the devil?" "No," she replied. We just made sure the devil got his due. 3 days after our meeting with Rivera, I woke up to find an envelope in my mailbox. Inside was a cashier's check for exactly $120,000, along with a handwritten note. Debt settled. R. I called Valerie immediately. Is it real? I asked. Just got confirmation from the bank. It's legitimate. She paused. Have you heard from Truman? Not since that day at the restaurant. I glanced at Sophia's closed bedroom door. Neither has Sophia. She's worried sick. He's alive, Valerie said flatly. My sources say Rivera's people took him to Atlantic City. He's working off his debt-dealing cards at one of their legitimate casinos, under strict supervision. The doorbell rang. It was Olivia, looking frazzled. You need to see this, she said, pushing past me into the house. She pulled up a video on her phone. My brother sent it this morning. The security footage showed Truman being escorted through the hotel by Rivera's men. His usual confident swagger was gone, replaced by a defeated shuffle. That's not all, Olivia said. Look at the timestamp. This was taken an hour ago. My stomach lurched. He's back in town? Mom? Sophia appeared in the doorway, still in her pajamas. What's going on? Before I could answer, my phone rang. An unknown number. Christine, Truman's voice was barely recognizable. We need to talk in person. There's nothing to talk about. Please, he sounded broken. I need to see Sophia, to explain. I looked at my daughter, who was watching me intently. That's her choice, not mine. Sophia held out her hand for the phone. I hesitated, then passed it over. Dad? Her voice was steady, but her hands were shaking. Where have you been? I could hear Truman's voice cracking even from where I stood. Sophia listened for a long moment, her face hardening. You want to explain? She finally said. Fine. Meet me at Mom's office in an hour, and bring proof you're actually going to pay back what you stole. She hung up and handed me back the phone. I want to face him, she said before I could speak. I need to. An hour later, we sat in my office, me, Sophia, Valerie, and Olivia. Patrick joined us via video call, ready to verify any financial claims Truman might make. When Truman walked in, I barely recognized him. He'd lost weight, his expensive suit replaced by wrinkled khakis and a polo shirt. Sophia, he started, then stopped when she held up her hand. Show me the money first, she said. He pulled out a stack of papers. Rivera's making me work at his casino. Minimum wage plus tips, every penny going to pay back what I... He swallowed hard. What I stole, from both of you. Patrick examined the documents through the video call. It's legitimate. He's under a legally binding contract. The payments will go directly to Sophia's college fund. Why? Sophia's voice cracked. Why did you do it? I thought I could win it back, Truman whispered. I always thought I could win it back. That's not an answer. Sophia stood up, trembling. I trusted you. Mom trusted you. Even after everything, we still believed you wouldn't hurt us like this. Princess, don't call me that. Sophia's shout made us all jump. You lost the right to call me that when you gambled away my future. Truman seemed to shrink into himself. You're right, I'm sorry. I know it's not enough, but I'm sorry. Mr. Rivera's people are watching you, Valerie said coolly. One missed payment, one step out of line, and they'll make sure you regret it. The casino job is your last chance. I know. He looked at me. Christine, I never meant... Save it, I cut him off. Just do your job and pay back what you owe our daughter. Sophia walked to the door, then turned back. Dad, don't contact me again until every penny is repaid. I mean it. After Truman left, Sophia collapsed into my arms, sobbing. Valerie and Olivia quietly excused themselves, leaving us alone. Did we do the right thing? Sophia asked through her tears. Working with Rivera? I stroked her hair, remembering the broken look in Truman's eyes. We did what we had to do. Sometimes justice wears an expensive suit and owns a casino. My phone buzzed with a text from Rivera. Mr. Woods has been properly motivated. Your daughter's future is secure. I held Sophia tighter, feeling the weight of the past week finally start to lift. We'd won, but victory tasted bittersweet. Sometimes destroying someone, even someone who deserves it, leaves scars on your own soul. But as I felt Sophia's breathing steady against my shoulder, I knew I'd do it all again in a heartbeat, because that's what mothers do. We protect our children no matter the cost. 2 weeks after our confrontation with Truman, life started settling into a new normal. Sophia was busy preparing for college, and the first payment from Truman's casino job had arrived right on schedule. But something still felt unfinished. That feeling intensified when Olivia burst into my house one morning, barely waiting for me to open the door. "You won't believe who just checked into the hotel," she said, catching her breath. "Remember that dealer who got beaten up? He's back, and he's asking for you." "For me." I set down my coffee. "Why?" "He says he has information about Truman, something big." An hour later, I sat in a private hospital room with Valerie beside me. The dealer, Mike, looked awful. His face still bruised, one arm in a cast. "Mrs. Woods," he said, glancing nervously at the door, "I needed to tell you, your ex-husband, he didn't just steal from the games." Valerie leaned forward. "What do you mean?" "The college fund money? He used it to buy cocaine, lots of it. He was dealing on the side, using Rivera's poker games to make connections." My blood ran cold. "What?" "That's why Rivera's guys worked me over. They thought I was helping him." Mike shifted painfully. "But I've got proof. Text messages, meeting locations, everything." "Why are you telling us this?" Valerie asked. "Because Rivera's letting him off too easy. Working at a casino?" Mike scoffed. "He should be in jail, and I'm tired of carrying his secrets." My phone buzzed. "Patrick. Emergency. Need to meet now." "Go," Valerie said. "I'll handle this." I found Patrick at his office, surrounded by papers and looking pale. "I've been tracking Truman's finances back further," he said without preamble. "The cocaine dealing? It goes back years, even when you were married." He showed me bank statements, mysterious deposits, coded text messages. That family vacation he canceled when Sophia was 12, he was meeting suppliers. All those business trips, my hands started shaking. He was dealing drugs with our daughter in the house? It gets worse. Patrick pulled up an email. He used Sophia's social security number to open accounts for laundering money. If the feds ever investigate, they could seize everything, I finished, including her college fund, including the payments he's making now through Rivera's casino. I called Valerie immediately. She answered on speaker, still with Mike. "We need to move fast," she said after I explained. "Mike, are you willing to testify?" "About the drugs? Yes, but not about Rivera." "Fair enough. Christine, we need to—" A commotion interrupted her. I heard shouting, then the line went dead. My phone rang again almost immediately. Olivia. "Truman's here," she said urgently. "He's drunk, making a scene in the lobby. He's saying he's going to tell the police everything about Rivera, about you, about everyone." "Don't let him leave," I said. "I'm on my way." I found Truman in the hotel bar, surrounded by worried-looking staff. Olivia's brother stood nearby, ready to intervene. "Christine!" Truman slurred when he saw me. "Come to finish destroying my life?" "You did that yourself," I said quietly. "With the drugs." He froze. "Who told you?" "Does it matter? How could you, Truman? In our house? Near our daughter?" "I needed the money." He stood up, swaying. "The gambling debts were getting too big. I had to do something." "So you became a drug dealer? Used our daughter's social security number?" "I was going to fix everything." He grabbed my arm. "I just needed time." Olivia's brother stepped forward, but before he could act, Rivera's men appeared. They moved with practiced efficiency, surrounding Truman. "Mr. Woods," one said quietly. "Mr. Rivera would like a word." "No!" Truman tried to break free. "Christine, please, don't let them—" "You used our daughter to deal drugs," I said coldly. "You risked her future, her freedom, everything. This time, you face all your consequences." As they led him away, my phone buzzed with a text from Valerie. "Mike's safe. I've got his statement recorded. We can go to the feds now." Another text followed from Rivera. "Problem solved, permanently. Your daughter's fund will receive a lump sum payment tomorrow. Consider all debts cleared." I sat down heavily at the bar, my hands shaking. Olivia brought me a glass of water. "What happens to him now?" she asked softly. "I don't know," I replied honestly. "And for Sophia's sake, I don't want to know." My phone lit up with a final text from Sophia. "Coming home from campus tour, got accepted, can't wait to tell you everything." I smiled through tears. Sometimes justice comes at a heavy price, but seeing that message made it all worth it. Truman had chosen his path. Now he had to walk it alone. The morning newspaper headline hit like a thunderbolt. "Local man found unconscious in Atlantic City casino. Drug charges pending." Below was Truman's mugshot, his face barely recognizable after what looked like a severe beating. Sophia saw it first. "Mom!" she called from the kitchen. "Did you see this?" I found her clutching the paper, her college acceptance letter forgotten on the table beside it. "The police say they found cocaine in his hotel room," she read aloud, "and evidence of dealing. They're saying it goes back years." She looked up at me. "Did you know?" The doorbell saved me from answering. It was Valerie, looking grim. "Rivera's people dropped him at the police station last night," she said, stepping inside, "along with enough evidence to put him away for a long time." "Is that what you wanted?" Sophia asked me, her voice sharp. "For Dad to go to prison?" "No, honey." I sat down beside her. "I wanted justice, not this." "He's asking to see you," Valerie said quietly. "Both of you. He's at County General under police guard." Sophia stood up immediately. "Let's go." "Are you sure? I need to know the truth, all of it." The hospital room was small, sterile, and depressing. Truman lay handcuffed to the bed, his face a mess of bruises. A police officer stood outside the door. "Sophia," he croaked when he saw us. "Christine, I'm so sorry." "Save it," Sophia snapped. "Just tell me why. The truth this time." Truman closed his eyes. "It started small, just helping some guys move product through the casino. The money was good, better than gambling. But then I got in deeper, started dealing myself." "In our house?" I demanded. "Sometimes. I kept it in Sophia's old dollhouse in the attic. I knew you never went up there." Sophia made a choked sound. "My dollhouse? The one Grandma gave me?" "The gambling debts were just a cover," he continued. "I was losing Rivera's drug money at the tables. When he found out I was dealing on the side, using his casino," he gestured to his beaten face. "Well, you can see how that went." "The college fund?" Sophia's voice was barely a whisper. "Used it to buy a big shipment. Thought I could make it all back and more. But Rivera's guys intercepted it. That's when everything fell apart." A nurse appeared in the doorway. "2 minutes," she warned. "They're offering me a deal," Truman said quickly. "Testimony against Rivera's operation for a reduced sentence." "Don't," I said sharply. "If you testify, Sophia could be implicated through those accounts you opened in her name." His face crumpled. "I didn't think—" "No, you never did." Sophia stood up. "Goodbye, Dad. Don't contact us again. Ever." In the hallway, we ran into Patrick, clutching his laptop. "I've cleared Sophia's social security number from everything," he said. "As far as the feds are concerned, Truman acted alone. You're both clean." My phone buzzed. Rivera. "Mr. Woods has been properly advised about his testimony options. Your daughter remains protected." Sophia read the text over my shoulder and shuddered. How did we get mixed up in all this? "By trusting the wrong person," Valerie said, joining us. "But it's over now. The DA's office has enough evidence to put Truman away for at least 10 years. Rivera's people made sure of that." "And the college fund?" "Fully restored with interest. Rivera keeps his promises." Outside the hospital, Sophia suddenly hugged me tight. "I'm sorry I doubted you, Mom, about going to Rivera." "Sometimes," I said, holding her close, "the right thing and the legal thing aren't the same. Mrs. Woods?" A detective approached us, notepad in hand. "We have some questions about your ex-husband's activities." Valerie stepped between us. "My clients have no comment. They knew nothing about Mr. Woods's criminal activities and are as shocked as anyone." The detective looked skeptical, but backed off. That evening, as Sophia and I sat looking through college brochures, My phone lit up one last time. An email from Truman's public defender. Client has declined to testify. Accepting plea deal, 12 years minimum. Mom? Sophia looked up from a campus photo. Are we bad people? For what we did to Dad? I thought about the dollhouse in the attic, now tagged as evidence. About the years of lies and betrayal. About a father who risked his daughter's future for drug money. No, honey, I said finally. We're survivors. Your father made his choices. We just made sure he couldn't hurt us anymore. She nodded, turning back to her brochures. I think I want to study law, she said quietly. Like Aunt Valerie. I smiled, remembering Valerie's fierce protection, her clever maneuvering. I think you'd be amazing at it. Sometimes justice comes in unexpected ways. Sometimes it wears handcuffs in a hospital bed. And sometimes it looks like a young woman turning pain into purpose, determined to protect others from what she endured. The morning of Sophia's college move-in day dawned bright and clear. As we packed the last boxes into my car, Olivia pulled up with coffee and bagels. A little goodbye breakfast, she said, hugging Sophia. Though I hear the cafeteria food at Preston University is actually decent. Speaking of decent, Valerie said, walking up my driveway with Patrick beside her. I have something for you, Sophia. She handed over an envelope. Inside was a letter confirming a paid internship at her law firm for the following summer. Really? Sophia's eyes lit up. But I haven't even started classes yet. Consider it motivation, Valerie winked. Besides, after watching you handle everything with your father, I know you've got what it takes. My phone buzzed, a collect call from County Correctional. I declined it. Still calling? Patrick asked quietly. Every week, I sighed. Sophia blocked his number months ago. Smart girl. Patrick handed me a folder. Speaking of smart, here's the final accounting. Every penny of the college fund is secure, plus the additional payments from Rivera's organization. She's set through graduate school if she wants it. Sophia was examining the acceptance letter from Valerie's firm when another car pulled up, a sleek black sedan with tinted windows. The back window rolled down just enough to reveal Rivera's face. Ms. Woods, he called to Sophia. A moment? Sophia looked at me. I nodded. We owed him this much. She walked to the car while we pretended not to watch. Rivera handed her something small, a business card maybe, and spoke briefly. Sophia nodded, then returned to us. He said to call if I ever need anything, she said, tucking the card into her pocket. And that Dad won't be bothering us again. Did he say why? I asked. Apparently, Dad tried to make a deal with a rival organization from inside prison. She shrugged. Rivera's people convinced him that was a bad idea. The black sedan pulled away as silently as it had arrived. Ready to go? I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. Sophia looked at our little gathering. Valerie, Patrick, Olivia, the people who'd helped us through the darkest time of our lives. Actually, she said, I want to make one stop first. 20 minutes later, we stood outside the police evidence warehouse. Sophia had called ahead. They had her old dollhouse waiting. You sure about this? I asked as she lifted it carefully. She nodded, carrying it to the nearby dumpster. This was the last piece of him in our lives, the last lie. The dollhouse hit the bottom of the dumpster with a satisfying crash. Back at the car, Sophia hugged everyone goodbye. Valerie held her extra long. You're going to be an amazing lawyer, she whispered. Just remember what you learned this summer. Justice comes in many forms. And family isn't always blood, Sophia added, looking at our assembled friends. As we drove toward the university, Sophia was quiet for a long time. Mom, she finally said, thank you. Not just for saving my college fund, but for showing me what real strength looks like. I learned it from you, honey. You never broke, even when everything was falling apart. We make a pretty good team, she smiled. Think Dad ever realized what he was up against? Probably not. Men like him never expect consequences. They think they're untouchable until suddenly they're not. We pulled up to her dorm. As we unloaded boxes, my phone buzzed one last time, a text from an unknown number. Package delivered safely, account closed permanently, R. I showed it to Sophia, who nodded. Good, it's really over. Looking at her standing there, surrounded by the beginnings of her new life, I felt a fierce pride. We'd walked through fire and emerged stronger. Truman had tried to steal her future, but instead, he'd taught her invaluable lessons about justice, strength, and the power of choosing your own family. Ready to start your new chapter? I asked. She looked at her dorm, then back at me. You know what? I am. And Mom? When I graduate law school, I want to help other families like ours. People who need someone in their corner. Just like Valerie helped us? Exactly. She grinned. Think Rivera might need a legitimate lawyer someday? I laughed, pulling her into a hug. Let's focus on getting through freshman year first. As I drove home later, I thought about karma, justice, and the strange paths that lead us to both. Truman had wanted easy money and found a prison cell. I had wanted justice and found my own strength. And Sophia? She'd taken darkness and turned it into purpose. Sometimes the best revenge isn't destruction. It's rising above, moving forward, and building something better from the ashes of betrayal.